Well, it's 1:26 a.m. A few people have asked me, what happened with many things, my family. To a person I knew as my daughter. Many have said that I had to be at fault for my daughter. And I can understand where they're coming from, because they're looking at something that is crazy. So first things first, to clarify. Everybody has a kid head that can be really bad. Hers was not really bad. She's sick. People get sick. We all reach out to the ones we love when they are this sick. We reach out, and finally we stop. For many reasons. Most of it was abuse on her behalf to me and her kids. That was a long time ago. She's getting better now. She's getting help. She's taking her medications. So I really don't like it when people tell me how bad she is. I'm upset when she slams me with some pretty heavy shit and untruths. There's nothing I can do about that. And I'm sure as hell not going to try and convince the public of otherwise. Because to be honest with you, they don't know anything. But I know me. And people who know me know. And people who know, and people who were there know. There's nothing anybody can do. Enough of that subject. She's getting better, and that counts. It counts more than anything in the world. She is getting better. On to what happened in 2004 with my own family. I wrote a email, and then I put it on a public blog about some things that was actually confrontational towards my biological mother. I ripped both my sisters a new asshole for different things, which I shouldn't have, and I apologized. I was in a very bad medical place, half out of my mind. My calcium was so low at that time that it was like a 7.5, and my magnesium was bottoming out. I was anemic. It goes on and on and on. I was born with a rare disease. Instead of calling my mate and finding out what the hell is going on and why am I doing that to them, since I've never done it before, ever, they totally shut me out. I mean, I went from being just really bad to worse for about a year. It was really bad. I was in and out of the hospital. Doctors trying to get my electrolytes balanced. It was very hard. Of course, my biomother said, well, she's been always sick, and she doesn't want me in her life because she feels that I'm toxic, and I might be to her. She didn't want me when I was born, so in that case, it's toxic. But I was meant to be in the family, despite some people saying I wasn't meant to be in the family. My biomother has told many stories to many people, and especially me. No one has to believe it because she said it to me, and her and I are the ones that are having it out. Does she lie? Profusely. Can I do anything about it? No. Not a damn thing. You know, my kids learned from me what they saw done to me by my own family. It affected them. I moved them out of Colorado, and I moved them to the Northwest. And I wanted as little contact as possible with my family, except for the fact that when I had brain surgery and back surgery and things like that, my kids would have to go there. In the meantime, I had an aunt who I was raised with. I mean, she's only 12 years older than I am, this is where they have HIPAA laws, by the way, who was calling my doctors to find out how sick I am and to prove me wrong and to prove me to be a liar. Well, it was interesting about that one. The doctors told me that she had called. What was really something is when I had my hysterectomy when I was about 2021, and I thought I had cancer, and it ended up being, I was young, and it ended up being fibroid mess all through the uterus, and I was bleeding all the time. And anyway, they had to do a hysterectomy. And she called her friend, who happened to be that doctor's wife, because she went to school with this friend, and asked her to ask her husband what was wrong with my uterus. Yeah, she did. And of course I was told by Mark what had happened. And it really agitated me, and it angered me quite a bit, and it should have. And, you know, he realized he should not have said anything. I broke doctor confidentiality, and that's why there's HIPAA laws. Because of people like her. She is a vicious person. Unfortunately, she, and sadly, she smoked like a smokestack, and she has emphysema, lives on oxygen. I hear she still takes her oxygen tank out to the yard and works in the yard. I mean, good for her, you know, go girl. But she's not a nice person. Never has been. It's quite vicious, and yeah, she lost custody of her own son because she wouldn't share custody with her ex-husband, and she was vicious about it to a social worker. The social worker thought it was best that her son stay with his paternal parent. Anyway, that was that story. It was no story. I mean, it was the honest truth. She just couldn't get over certain things. Anyway, later on I found out some things that were pretty horrible about my grandfather, and it was confirmed. And, you know, I'm not going to go into it, but it just seemed like one stone after another was falling, and that's basically how I ended up where I am today. I am making amends with one of my sisters on my mother's side, but it is very hard. And because we're both walking on eggshells. We don't want to hurt each other. We want to become closer. You know, she is an incredible artist who I would love to have in my little store on eBay or Etsy or whatever and sell her cards, you know, and all that money would go back to her. She needs the money. I need the money from my stuff. So I'm doing something completely different than she is. And so, but yet it all ties into like what a little store would be. I've always been either people were either incredibly jealous of me or incredibly just resented the shit out of me. There's nothing I can do. I mean, until I discovered the internet and I put on Blog Drive everything I ever knew about this family or that family. I am not to be notified anymore of deaths or births or anything that is anything important at all. That's just the way it is. And it's sad, you know. It would have taken a simple phone call to find out what the fuck was going on with me medically. And it was never made. This whole thing was just an excuse so then she wouldn't have to deal with me at all. You know, my grandmother made her make a promise to get close to me. She didn't want to. You know, she was doing it for her mother. And God bless Grandma. Yeah. And she caused a lot of problems for my mother. And so, I mean, it just went on and on and on. And, you know, when I die, I will have people who I know now and knew then. I still have friends, you know, that I went to school with that are friends, real friends. And I have real friends here. And I've made what we call a family. You know, I mean, it's sad, you know. Some people get shit on a lot. And I was shit on a lot. And even by my own two oldest children. And again, there was nothing I could do about it. People say what they say, either from their perception as a child, or they just plain hate your guts for many reasons. And again, there's nothing you can do. So what can you do as a person for yourself to move on? Well, you move on. You try not to think about it. And you try to make amends where you can, even under the circumstances that it was. And you hope for the best. I mean, that's all anybody can do. I mean, it's so weird. Reminds me of the story Ebenezer Scrooge, you know. He was terrible to his nephew and his nephew's wife. And finally, in the end, the Ghost of Christmas Future is the one who knocked some sense into the old guy. And he went and he saw his nephew and his nephew's wife the next day and was quite happy with it. And then went and saw Tiny Tim and everything was better and understood why his apprentice was starving to death because he was paying him pittance. You know, I rescue animals. I do a lot of good things for children, and there is nothing much anybody can do. I fought on a channel a while back, God, going on 2 years back, when I was accused of some pretty hideous things that weren't true. And I went on his channel and I made an ass out of myself by even trying to defend myself. I was so angry with her. And needless to say, it's just you don't go to sites where there's trolls. You don't go to sites that, if you're not old enough to understand them, could drive you to suicide. You just don't. If you're in the hospital and they accuse you of not calling your loved one, don't have to analyze it or satisfy their interest in snoopiness. Because they're snoopy and they don't care two shits about you. So, why should I care? I have a station that has my videos, and I'll keep on making my videos because they refuse to release my videos and erase them. And as long as that is true, I'll keep on making videos. Good, bad, or indifferent. I know the truth. They don't know anything. They don't know me. They sure are a weird bunch. Anyway, if there's a problem, call. Find out what the hell's going on with me. There's always something going on with me.